Trout to the quarterback's left. He'll take the handoff. He'll throw it deep for an open man. Desta, touchdown! 32 yards and Coast Guard trick plays on the board. Punt it away. Oh, it's a fake. Going nowhere. Coast Guard shuts it down.
Again, right up the middle, cuts outside. Hensley still on his feet to the 10-5, touchdown Bears!
Wow, that was awesome. So welcome everybody. Just want to say how excited I am to see all the people on the call here tonight. My name is Dr. Dan Rose, and I'm the Director of Athletics at the Coast Guard Academy. I've been at Coast Guard for 28 years, and I can tell you that I've never been more excited about the future of our football program than I am right now today as we move forward. So we have a very proud program that's been around for 100 seasons. We're going to start our 101st season in the fall. And we've got a whole bunch of accolades to celebrate, including Otto Graham, which is a Pro Football Hall of Famer who was a coach and athletic director here at Coast Guard. But what I'm most excited about is that this program, this football team, our goal and our vision for the program is to be the team for the service, not just this academy. So we represent that long blue line. It's not just those that attend this institution, but we're also representing everybody that serves across the globe. And we have people every day that are saving lives, protecting property, taking drugs off of our streets, doing great work, serving their country. So we're really excited. I've been the athletic director for now 4 years here, but again, been here 28. What we have happening here in the last 2 years is truly special. So you're going to get to hear tonight as you go through, and you hear from our coaches, hear from some of our admissions officers, all the things that we have going on here. But I hope it becomes readily apparent that this is a special place. There's only 5 federal service academies. Football at service academies is a very big deal. But what we're using football for is prepare the best leaders in the world to protect their nation. So I'm so excited that you chose to look into Coast Guard more. I'm so excited that you chose to log in here tonight. And what I'd like to do is hand it over now to Lieutenant Jacob Brown, who is an alum of the Academy and alum of the football program and is currently working in the admissions department. Lieutenant?
Hey there. Thanks, Dr. Rose. Really appreciate it. Hopefully everyone can hear me here. Super excited about this opportunity and super excited for each and every one of you all. It seems like yesterday that I was in the same seats as you all, but Zoom wasn't a big thing back in 2013, believe it or not. And so, again, cherish this moment, cherish the amount of effort that the staff's put in to recruit each and every one of you for the families. If the parents are on board or the guardians and family are on board, again, welcome to you all. And again, cherish this moment here. And with that, I have a few minutes to just kind of give you all the background as an admissions officer now in this role to explain the process of applying to the United States Coast Guard Academy as compared to maybe some of the other schools that you all may be looking at here. And so, few moments here, I'll open up my screen here and share it and give you all a little bit of a presentation here. And so Coach Rose or Coach Grant or Coach Wells, if you wouldn't mind just confirming, you can see my screen here.
All set, LT. You're good.
Perfect, perfect. So if you're not from this area, this is the beautiful United States Coast Guard Academy, your United States Coast Guard Academy here, in which 103 acres that you will inhabit, have a great time during those 4 years that you will be a cadet, and then of course proceeding on forward to becoming a United States Coast Guard officer. And so again, from Virginia Beach, Virginia, I'll get a little bit more into my background here, but I want to give you this little look here. This is what it looks like in the spring. Somewhat in the fall, the leaves may be a bit of a different color, but I promise you in the winter, it's definitely going to be all white because there's definitely a lot of snow in Connecticut. If you're not used to playing in the snow, we'll make sure that you get adjusted to that as well. So as Dr. Rose or Coach Rose alluded to previously when he mentioned, I am an alum of the Coast Guard Academy, as well as a former football player there as well. And so always representing, I have my little helmet here at all times when I'm giving my admissions brief, because again, a little bit of bias, but again, the most important sport at the United States Coast Guard Academy is the United States Coast Guard Academy football team. And so on the right-hand side here, top right, you'll see myself during SWAB summer. So plebe summer, if you're looking at the other service academies or maybe some potentially ROTC units, again, that's where you become a basically trained one man in the United States Armed Forces. And so again, that's where we teach you basic training. So you're going to be using your rifles, you're going to be doing some shooting, you're going to be doing push-ups, sit-ups, all that fun stuff that in my mind as a future football player, I was like, all right, this is perfect. Sure, I can't lift weights, but at least I can get in shape for the season. And so I was super excited about that opportunity. 8 weeks long is how long that opportunity will last for you to get ready for the season. Believe it or not, your cadre or the people that will be in charge of you during the summer, the people that will yell at you, will actually a lot of times be some of your teammates on the football team. And the fun part is during the latter half of the summer, once you start beginning practice, in which, of course, you're preparing for that first August game, you actually will have those individuals come and get you and then bring you to football practice. And so a lot of your fellow classmates will be a little bit jealous because you're going to football practice and get out of the chaos that is SWAB summer to go to football, and you're being normal and you're calling your cadre by their first name and their nicknames and things like that. Whereas again, you're in boot camp. And so it's very formal, very strict, very rigorous and things like that. But again, last couple weeks of SWAB summer or, aka boot camp, you have the opportunity to be enjoying that with your fellow teammates. And so fast forward leading into that bottom right picture there, myself playing against MIT, Mr. Kyle Wood, he's an active duty lieutenant as well. And one of my main mans, I played outside linebacker when I was at the Coast Guard Academy, had the time of my life, as you can see here. I split that picture in half with my older brother, who obviously has poor decision making. He went to West Point to play football. Terrible option, obviously, but no, just kidding. A fantastic school and institution as well. But I will say as a whole, as you're looking at the D1 and D2 and D3 thing, I know a lot of you are probably considering those options. I will say I was, to be quite forward, pretty surprised at the D3 level of support, the resources and things that I received as a D3 player at the United States Coast Guard Academy. So that's something that I can't foot stop enough, whether it was new gear, sponsorship by Adidas. At the time, we were actually wearing the same uniforms as Texas A&M. So back when I was playing, that was the kind of Johnny Manziel era, if you are familiar with him. And again, for me to be wearing that same uniform as Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M, I was like, forget about it. We're going on the road. We're traveling. We're getting everything paid for, just like those individuals. We're on the big buses and charter buses. We actually practice at the Washington Commanders football practice facility as a football player. And so I couldn't believe this. I was like, oh my goodness, this is way beyond what I ever would have expected from the institution. But again, the coaches, the staff, and everyone involved in this great team made sure that you feel like the most important player in the United States of America. And so for that, I was forever thankful. And of course, got to give a shout out to our Merchant Marine game and the ESPN side of the house that we got to enjoy as well. And so again, you will have the chance to play on ESPN. And so how special is that? I will say that my parents, unfortunately, weren't able to attend every game, being from Virginia Beach, Virginia, but they were able to attend every game online. And so every game that I played in, they had the chance to watch wherever they were. And so for me, that was a big deal as well. Looking in the middle, Regimental Executive Officer, that was a fun time. Second in charge of the Corps Cadets. Had a definitely pretty adventurous or roller coaster, if you would. 4 years as a cadet took me a long time, but luckily Coach Grant put up with my nonsense and he coached me all the way through the end there and made sure that I was ready to become an officer in the United States Coast Guard, in addition to making me a better football player. On the bottom left there, that's my brother and I at my graduation, May 23rd, 2018. 2 days you'll never forget at the Coast Guard Academy: the day you start and the day you end. Everything in between may be a little bit of a blur, but you'll be just as excited or anxious the day you start as you will be 4 years later on the day that you end there. And I had the opportunity to receive my commission and diploma from my brother, who's an Army officer, as well as the Vice President of the United States of America at the time. And so for me, huge deal. Couldn't believe that it was happening. And the best part, it was on my home field. It was on the Coast Guard Academy football field there, Cadet Memorial Field. And again, couldn't be more excited about that. And top left picture is my first RTHP, return to home port. And so that means when you're going out to sea and you do your deployment, whether it's a week or two, 1 month, 2 months, maybe even 6, depending on the specific platform that you're on, you'll be coming home eventually to your friends and family and loved ones. And that's what that RTHP is, a special day. I actually had a chance to go down to Portsmouth, Virginia, and return home. And so that was about 20 minutes or so from where I was from. And so for me, that RTHP, or return to home port, was a very special time because, again, I got to come home, whether it was for the Thanksgiving holiday that my family celebrates or the winter holidays and Christmas that we also celebrate. Whole sign 912. One thing I will say about us compared to a lot of services throughout this presentation, you'll see just comparisons to other institutions, other services, not to knock on those respective institutions or services, but to give you all, again, an honest and transparent view of what it is that you'll be signing up for if you'd like to bring your talents to the Coast Guard Academy football team, as well as the United States Coast Guard as an officer. It's important that you all know what you all signing up for. And so for us, it's awesome. They had a fantastic video that you all just watched. It was my first time seeing it also, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, first time seeing that video. And again, it's pretty awesome because you're going to do those missions that you saw in those videos. A lot of times with a lot of other services, you see those missions and things like that, and you want to sign up because you're so gung-ho and ready to serve this great country, but you don't get to do that, unfortunately. Whereas with us, you better believe Coast Guard is a really small service. You're going to have to do those because we don't have enough people to not have you doing those specific missions that you saw on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Snapchat. And so you're going to get after it. This is a beautiful ship that I had the pleasure of serving on for 2 years after I graduated in 2018 as a government major or political science major. So the Coast Guard Cutter Laguerre, whole sign 912, as you can see at the rear or the back of the ship there, the stern as we call it, in the naval services there. 912, that's the whole sign, and it was the best ship ever. Took me all the way from up north through Maine and Halifax and Nova Scotia, all the way down south to Colombia and Peru and a lot of other countries as well. Search and rescue, drug interdiction, and believe it or not, on the back of the ship, you can't really see it, but we actually had a grill on the back as well, and we actually would do some cookouts on the back too. Eligibility wise, you all are definitely probably taking care of this already, so I'll definitely breeze past this portion of it. But 17 to 22, high school graduate, no dependents and things of that nature. I'm sure you all are, again, taking care of that. I will say, again, here's where the comparison part comes into play here. And the comparison part is that looking at Coast Guard Academy, right, you're considering, okay, if I go here, what's it look like? What's it going to be like? About 1,100 students enrolled, just over 1,000. And again, very different than Air Force Academy, than West Point, the Navy. Merchant Marine Academy is our arch rival, arch nemesis, the individuals that we love to beat up on, aka. And so with that being the case, they're about around the same size as us as well. But again, if you're looking at those other institutions, even VMI, Virginia Tech, and USC, those type of schools, a lot bigger. And so for us, it does create that family feel environment. And so that was something that was a big deal to me. It was that I was going to an institution where yes, I had the opportunity to be a great football player, but also I wasn't just a number in the system, if that makes sense. And so we are the only service academy that does not require congressional nomination, believe it or not. So again, foot stomp that. Only service academy that does not require congressional nomination from your respective congresswoman or congressman or vice president and so on and so forth. And so that part's pretty nice. But with that, we do try our best to make sure that we have every single state included. And then with that being the case as well, we also have international students, which is pretty cool. And so international students, by that I mean you will have classmates who are from Honduras, who are from Taiwan, even Madagascar. And so if you're old enough to remember the Madagascar movie with the lemurs and all that good stuff, it was pretty cool. We had our most recent graduate from Madagascar a couple of years ago. Fantastic young individual proceeding to go forward to the Madagascar Navy. And of course, he was one of my main mans. And so that was pretty cool to have the opportunity. Another thing that's important here is, you know, you look at institution that you're considering, the female representation, the minority representation, or underrepresented minority representation, things that are also important. I will again emphasize we don't have any quotas that we have to meet or anything like that for Congress or beyond. But again, we feel it's important that the students have the opportunity to feel represented, to feel welcome, to feel like their voice is heard in our cadet corps, as well as in our United States Coast Guard, be it enlisted or officer. A lot of students are varsity athletes like each of you all would be, and a lot of students will proceed to earn a Bachelor of Science degree as well. Now, looking at the academic sides, not exactly my favorite. I'll be the first to admit, as a political science or government major when I was here, I could not stand my STEM classes, so that's science, technology, engineering, and math coursework. But you're earning a Bachelor of Science at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy. And so that holds a lot of weight. And so you'll get through it. The coaches will accommodate as appropriate. If you have to come to practice a little bit later because you're a little bit behind in the classroom. Sorry, Coach Grant. He had to put up with that a lot with me my first couple of years, unfortunately, because I was too focused on football, watching film, going to practice, and I let my chemistry, calculus grade, etc., fall behind a little bit, and that honestly put me behind the curve. But again, the coaches were there supporting me because they understood that more grand mission and that I need to be a ready Coast Guard officer once I graduated in 2018. And so again, you're going to get that degree that matters. That Bachelor of Science means a lot. Maybe it doesn't mean a lot to you right now at 17 to 18 years old, but trust me, when you're 23, 24, and you have that degree and you're building resumes and things of that nature, yes, it will mean more than you think. So if you're looking at engineering, consistently ranked, whether it's U.S. News World Report or wherever you're looking at, consistently ranked top engineering school. Hopefully the families want to send their students to school for free. We'll check that box for you. And hopefully the students want to get paid while you're here. Check that box for you as well. You can get all the Jordans, all the Nikes that you want. Finish Line has 20% off for military. You'll get your ID once you get to the academy. So for me, that was a big deal too. And then, of course, once you graduate, you're going to be an N10 or O1 in the United States Armed Forces, specifically the Coast Guard, of course. And so that part is really exciting as well. You're going to have a job for at least 5 years because we do have that obligatory 5-year service upon graduation. A lot of folks do proceed to graduate school, whether it's going on to law school. I'm currently in law school myself, whether it's earning that master's degree like Coach Dunaway has already earned. All those various things are things that you're going to be able to do. And I will say that without a doubt, being on a football team will help serve you in that capacity to be ready for those challenges, to be ready to balance the demands of life, whether personal or professional, and to meet that demand with excellence. If you're looking at the naval architecture, marine engineering side of the house here, this is our what we call tow tank. Us and MIT, so the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, if you're familiar with that, are the only two schools in the country who actually have tow tanks of this size. So if you're looking at ship design and things of that nature, you better believe you're going to be at the best of the best at this school. Looking at our majors and degrees, all right, again, comparing school to school and things of that nature, we have 9. So if you're looking at, again, the University of Florida, if you're looking at North Dakota State, wherever it may be, or you're looking at Coast Guard or Army and Navy, yeah, you probably see that they have 92 different degrees, 36, 50, whatever it may be. But I would say these are the 9, but don't be alarmed because as you become a cadet, you actually will have the opportunity to specifically focus on what we call concentrations. And so concentrations are subcategories of those majors. So for example, as a government major, I actually focused on national security matters. And so for me, that's what I focus on. Some of my friends focus on public policy and law, that type of deal. And so each major has their specific things that a lot of schools, to be quite forward, turn into their own majors as well. So a lot of schools will have public policy and law, their own major. And so for us, we'll keep it under one general category, but then you can proceed to still study very intensely for that respective major. 2 other things I want to foot stomp here. The Bachelor of Science degree, which again, ask your family about it. means a lot when you're going to be graduating. And then last but certainly not least here, the major that you pick does not dictate your career path. And so again, a lot of folks are saying, I want to save folks. I want to be a commanding officer of a ship. I want to be an aviator, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter when you're at the Coast Guard Academy, major in what you love, major in what you're passionate about. And of course, that will work out for you both as a student and as a football player, because you'll be able to be on the field and not skipping practices or anything like that for studying and tutoring. Leadership wise, we are a 4-year institution, regardless of whether you have a degree already, whether you will be 22 years old or 17 or 18, you're going to come here and you're going to do the full 4 years, because we need to prepare you as the young individuals about to take the Coast Guard by storm upon graduation to be as prepared as you can for service as a military officer. And so again, admittedly, in being transparent, you won't be ready for everything. There's a lot of things that obviously you won't know as a brand new 21 to 22-year-old in the United States Coast Guard about, again, life, just to be quite forward here, whereas you're going to be leading women and men who have been in the service for 15, even 20 years. And so, yes, there are some things that you just won't know just yet. However, we're going to be able to equip you with the tools, the resources, and the wherewithal to know, okay, if I don't know about this, this is who I go to, this is who I talk to make sure I can manage this situation the best that I can. Looking at the physical side and aspect, again, we are D3 compared to D2 as well as D1. But I will say, again, couldn't emphasize it enough. I was definitely worried about the D3 side. I will admit, I committed to West Point in August of my senior year. Committed to West Point. I was all in. I wanted to play D1 and blah, blah, blah. Notre Dame, ESPN, Rutgers, blah, blah, blah. And I will say through Coach Grant, through Coach Fleischman, Coach Wells wasn't here yet, but shout out to Coach Wells, as well as our former coach, Coach George, and even the director now, Dr. Rose, the family feel that I felt from them compared to some of those other schools that I was talking to at the time was unparalleled. It wasn't even close. They made me feel like an individual. Yes, they were like, hey, you're going to play football and that's going to be a great thing, which I know what you want to do. But given their experience in life, they also knew, hey, young man, you're going to also grow up to be a servant of the United States of America, specifically in the United States Coast Guard. And we see that in you. And we also care about who you are as Jacob or JB for short. And so whether it's the things that you want to do or social, professional, whatever it may be. And that was the thing that actually led me to decommit from West Point and actually come to the Coast Guard Academy, because again, it made all the difference that they were there for me as a person. They saw me as more than just an individual that's coming to the football team that could maybe make a couple tackles. That wasn't important in the grand scheme of life. And again, I couldn't thank them enough for it. But again, that D3 thing, again, I couldn't overemphasize, from new uniforms. We're rocking the Rebel speeds. We're getting new visors. We're getting the armbands so you look good and you can take all the Instagram posts that you want to do, the Snapchat posts that you want to do, and things like that in the locker room, and the mannequins on the campus. Again, I will say ahead of time, a lot of sports will be jealous of you. And so, again, the football, definitely, we get taken care of, and I couldn't be more happy about it because, again, to me, we're the best sport on the campus. But again, you will be taken care of. So please, I couldn't emphasize enough. Don't be worrying about the whole D3 versus D2 versus D1 thing. You're definitely going to have the opportunity to shine and to be a great football player. And again, a future great Coast Guard officer as well. Here, a couple of snapshots of the campus Monday through Sunday. So whether it's the various sports on campus that you want to go to, if you want to get into clubs and do some rock climbing and some surf club, check out some basketballs. It's March. It's about to be March Madness. I'm a big basketball guy. I'm only 5'8", so obviously I wasn't going to Duke to play basketball, but I still do love to watch them play. Day in the life side of the house here, if you're looking at service academies, yes, you're going to wake up early. And if you don't procrastinate, you actually can go to bed pretty early as well. For me, I was definitely a big procrastinator, unfortunately. And so a lot of times I went to bed past 2200 or 10 p.m. taps is what we call it there. I used going to bed around midnight or 1 o'clock. But again, if you're focused up, my friend was an electrical engineer. My roommate was an electrical engineer, also a football player as well. He's currently a pilot. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you want his contact information. But again, he was in bed way before me. He was in bed at 9 o'clock watching Netflix and hanging out, having a good old time, talking to his significant other and things like that, while I was stressing about writing my paper because I waited too long to do it. So you will have time throughout the day. Yes, you will have classes from 8 to 12, but there will be breaks in between, and you'll leave and have classes from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. But again, you'll be ready to rock and roll for football. Football practice will start at 4 p.m. and then you'll proceed. Some days it goes until about 6 or so. Some days it goes a little after. Pretty nice for the freshman side of the house here. You have the opportunity to eat with the team. So when you come to the academy, you have to eat kind of weird as a freshman. You have to do what we call squaring. And so it's a long story. Email me if you want to know about the squaring type of deal, or if you're looking at the Academy Introduction Mission or AIM, you'll learn about it there during the summer training program. But as a whole, again, you'll figure it out. You'll be fine. You have time to sleep. You have time to watch film. That's super, super important there as well. You'll have time to go to meetings and, again, get ready for that next opponent that's going to be coming up on Saturday. We try best to make it a social environment, whether it's a social life, whether it's the pep rallies, the glee club, and things like that. So we have had football players who also did dual sports, who also did the glee club, and were super, super talented with regards to singing and things of that nature, or acting. And so they can do that as well. So we try our best. I will say, don't get me wrong, we are not exactly, University of Central Florida or anything for parties. We're not that. And so, again, I'll definitely throw out that disclaimer. But as a whole, we try our best, again, while preparing our young individuals to be future leaders of the country there in the service to the United States Coast Guard. A lot of affinity councils and groups for you to join, whether you identify as Black or a woman and so on and so forth. But again, a lot of opportunities for you to be an ally and basically serve those that you'll be serving with, which is pretty awesome. Now, looking at the New England area, I will admit I was not the most familiar with this area coming from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I didn't know much about New York or anything like that. And so quickly learned the difference between the tri-state as well as New England is a very distinct difference. So don't mix that up if you come up here, because they do not look to be mixed up. But again, the tri-states, so that Jersey, New York area to New England, the Connecticut, the Vermonts, the New Hampshires, and everything like that. A lot to do. And so once football season ends, you got a little bit of off time. You can go skiing, you can go snowboarding, March Madness again. You can go watch UConn win a national championship again. All those different things are available to you, which is pretty cool because, again, it is the hub of athletics. So I am a big sporty, whether it's swim, whether it's football, basketball, so on and so forth. So I can't even count the number of times I went to a Boston Celtics game to watch LeBron beat up on the Celtics, or to go to New York City to watch a play, or even, go and see the Knicks play, and even, the Jets and the Giants, that type of deal. Again, amazing opportunities for you to see a lot of things that you may be interested in. Looking at the United States Coast Guard Cutter Bark Eagle, war prize ship, tall ship. And so by tall ship, we mean basically a sailing vessel. So if you're familiar with the Pirates of the Caribbean and the Jack Sparrow's part, that will be you. You will be Jack Sparrow, minus the alcohol. And so for this side of the house here, you'll be enjoying what it's like to, again, endeavor in the liking for the sea and its lore, as we call it at the Coast Guard Academy. And so hopefully you all don't get seasick. If you do get seasick, no worries. We'll, make sure that you're safe. We will allow you to throw up on the side of the ship, to be quite forward. And we'll clean it up before your families come visit when you're a freshman and you pull into a port, or even when you're a sophomore and you pull into a port for a couple of days to enjoy some R&R, rest and relaxation. We'll take care of you and make sure that you're okay. No worries. We'll teach you how to swim if you don't know how to swim. Again, these are things that a lot of times folks are like, wait, I can't join the Coast Guard because I can't swim, or I get seasick, blah, blah, blah. We'll take care of that. There are a lot of options aside from sea service and things like that. And so, again, great option for you. We'll teach you 1 week during your freshman year, during swap summer or fleet summer. And then we'll actually have you on board for another 6 to 7 weeks as a sophomore. And then after that, it's up to you whether you go back as well. So half your class will be on there and you'll have a good time. Looking at the careers and opportunities, again, foot stomping on the fact that your major does not dictate your career path. Again, we have 11 statutory missions that are specifically granted to the United States Coast Guard. So from the drug interdiction to the national defense with the U.S. Navy and beyond, to even the aids and navigation. If some of you all are familiar with the waters, if you're from the Floridas, if you're from Hawaii, if you're from California, you probably see, or the Great Lakes, you probably see the Coast Guard pretty often in your day-to-day. And again, ensuring that the people of the United States are served and protected in all regards. So just some snapshots here of the various things you'll see. A lot of folks, of course, want to come and be pilots. We have a lot of different aircraft. A lot of times, I'll admit, we take them from the Air Force. But I'll admit that, again, fantastic opportunities for you to do what you love for a prolonged period of time. So just snapshots here. During the summers, you will train, in addition, of course, to football practice in late August. You will train on these respective vessels in these respective units as well. So that part's pretty cool that you have that opportunity to see and be exposed to the actual Coast Guard in addition to the academic environment. My favorite, slide here, again, as we said, for the fixed wing or airplanes, we actually take them away from the Air Force. A lot of times we'll buy them, aka, and we'll repaint them and we'll make them look like the Coast Guard. We'll put that Coast Guard racing stripe, and in my opinion, we make them look better because the gray is kind of plain. But again, thank you all for the folks who do come from a family of service. Again, just lighthearted jokes. Coast Guard will teach you all the jokes, because usually we're the brunt of all the jokes from all the other military services. But as a whole, again, we take the aircraft from various branches, fixed wing, and we repaint them, make them ready for Coast Guard service, and we're ready to go. Helicopter wise, we have a small helicopter called the Dolphin, and then another helicopter called the Jayhawk. For the other branches, Navy, for example, they call it the Seahawk. And of course, lots of people are familiar with the Black Hawk, which is the Army's version of our H-860. So feel free to look that up. Different equipment on board, of course, for each respective service. But again, we do have those as well. Ship inspections and, make sure everyone's safe. Coast Guard actually regulates every single U.S. flagship vessel. In the middle, if you want to be a bad, your testosterone still flowing from football, and you want to kick people in the chest and kick down doors, deployable specialized forces, yes, you will be in camo. Yes, you will look like one of the other branches a lot of times, and that can take you to Coast Guard missions, external missions in the Navy, as well as international missions. So you may be on a foreign ship as well. Overseas, yes, you will have the opportunity to go overseas in the Coast Guard. A lot of times people think Coast Guard, you think just coastal, which makes sense. But as a whole, we are in Bangkok, we are in Africa, we are in Japan, we're in a lot of different various units around the globe, which I didn't know until I joined the service. And so if you do have the bug to go international with your service, that's great. And we do, bottom left, a Coast Guard Commander 04 with Jennifer Lopez at a presidential inauguration. And so again, presidential side of the house here, you're going to be able to have the opportunity to fulfill special assignments in the office as high as the president, and of course, below that. Again, when you think presidents, a lot of times you're probably thinking Marine Corps, probably thinking Army. But again, to know in the Coast Guard, you also have those opportunities to serve as an executive assistant to the Vice President of the United States for security matters. Awesome. Again, things I didn't learn until I was 4 years into the service. And so again, thank you all for taking that time to be here this evening. This is what a shopping list looks like. AKA a shop list is a billet list. Every time it's time for you to rotate or go to a new job, like you would associate with the military, you get an Excel spreadsheet that says, hey, I want to go to Stuttgart. Hey, I want to go to Jamaica. Hey, I want to go to Port-au-Prince. And wherever else you may want to go, and you let the folks that are dictating your job know that's where you want to go. And then chances are that you'll get it. We don't go overseas as often as the other branches. Another thing that's important, our deployments are definitely obviously shorter, from the couple of weeks to the 3 to 6 months, depending if you're going to the North or South Pole. But again, as a whole, a little bit different than the other branches in that if you want to go overseas, you have to be the best of the best, because you're going to be representing the Coast Guard, and it's not going to be too many other folks representing the Coast Guard in that respective space. Now, looking at the mission side of the house here, you're going to be applying. If you haven't started your candidate portal for the Coast Guard Academy, please do start that. It's called a Bears Den account. So if you're looking at other academies, just like they have theirs, Bears Den account is ours. Started early. It lets you know when, for example, I'm coming to Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend for a college fair. That's where you learn that I'll be on the road, or your respective admissions officer and staff will be on the road. And also you'll have the opportunity to come to the academy and participate in various program days, athletic days, and so on and so forth. You do have to get medically qualified, which is called DOMER, Department of Defense Medical Evaluation Review Board, as well as physical fitness assessments. For the other academies, if you're looking at those, the CFA, Candidate Fitness Assessment, is very different than the Coast Guard Academy's PFE, or Physical Fitness Exam. For us, it's a 1.5 mile run, cadence push-ups, which you usually don't see with other schools. So Coach Grant actually is going to tell you to go up and down for your push-ups as well as your sit-ups that will be timed. And so a little bit different. They're not interchangeable, unfortunately. But again, things you'll work through for that process there. So be ready to rock and roll. Some deadlines here. Feel free to take a little screenshot. I'll leave this on the page here for just a second. Again, for the juniors in the house here, you're going to be looking to the Academy Introduction Mission, which I'll get to in a second. But July 15th will be the day that you start your Coast Guard Academy application. And then, of course, hopefully October 15th, you may apply early action, non-binding, aka you apply early, you receive a decision a little bit earlier, or we'll let you know that we're going to keep reviewing you into the spring. But again, you have the opportunity to know before the new year starts. And then May 1st, you'll let us know whether you're bringing your talents to the Coast Guard Academy or not. And then usually the last Monday in June is when you will start the Coast Guard Academy process and program. Another little snapshot here. Talk with your admissions officer from your respective area or state, because again, that's our job. We want to let you know what it is you're going to be signing up for. Looking at the Academy Introduction Mission, again, for the juniors, let yourself be immersed in the real service academy lifestyle. So a little bit different than some of the summer academy seminars from other schools. You will have the opportunity to run around, be woken up early, go to bed late, take your phone away for a week. All those things, get yelled at, stuff like that, will happen during AIM. And so the application is actually open for the juniors going into their senior year. And so look at that right now. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll put my email and everything in the chat here shortly. But again, if you're interested in that, let me know, because again, we want to make sure you have the opportunity to be exposed. And of course, our coaches participate in that. And I'm sure would love to see you all there in that program, because again, it'll give you that test run, if you would, about whether or not you're actually excited about the Coast Guard Academy and want to come here and bring your talents and things of that nature, and whether you enjoy that type of environment. Coast Guard Academy Scholars Program. And so specifically for the football team here, a lot of times our students do go to United States Naval Academy Prep School. And so, yes, we do play with Navy. So U.S. Naval Academy allows us to participate on the team, to knock heads with them. Obviously, we're way better than them, but as a whole, they do allow us to play with them up there in Newport, Rhode Island. And so for the football players who are elected for the Coast Guard Academy Scholars Program, fully funded, well taken care of prep school program, in which we say, hey, you may need a little bit more math or a little bit more science or a little bit more English advancement before you come to the academy to ensure your success. And after 10 months of being at that respective school, we'll bring you into that following class. So please don't view that as a knock on the head or viewing that you're not good enough or anything like that. Couldn't be farther from the truth, to be quite honest. We're invested in you, and we want to make sure you're able to enjoy the academy while you're there, not just struggle through all 4 years and hate the experience that you have for 4 years straight. And so again, if you are offered this opportunity, again, give it some great consideration. Talk with the coaches. They're a wealth of knowledge with regards to how you can proceed forward and be successful. And then last but not least, cadet support services. Again, not everyone's going to be from Waterford, Connecticut, or New London and things of that nature, where they're only 3 minutes away from home. If you're from Cali, if you're from Texas, from Washington, from the Dakotas, and from New Mexico, or anywhere else, Alaska, again, knowing that you have folks that are going to be there to support you and take care of you is super important as well. And so again, I couldn't thank the coaches enough, because they all know, as well as Dr. Rose, that I had some definitely trying times. And when I wasn't the most confident in myself, the coaching staff on the football team were the individuals that say, hey, JB, you still got this. There's a reason you were selected, and there's a reason you're on this football team. And again, couldn't thank them enough for that opportunity and for that support there as well. And they continue to support me as well. And so again, I couldn't thank them enough. But as a whole, 4 years later, this is what you're going to be aiming for. Graduation day, where you try to throw your cap or your cover or your hat as high as you can to hopefully touch one of the aircraft that are going to be flying over during your graduation, when maybe the vice president or the president of the United States is giving the speech and welcoming you to their United States Armed Forces. And so again, 4 years makes for a great event, makes your family proud, and of course will ultimately make you proud. But hopefully, if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. But hopefully, again, you're giving a great consideration to this great institution and this great football program. I'll put my contact information in the chat, and I'll turn it back over to the individuals who are running the program, our great coach staff here.
Thanks, Jacob. We're going to turn it over to Coach Grant now to talk about the football program and get that portion of the evening kicked off. Thank you.
Thanks, JB. Appreciate the time and effort that you put into it. Welcome to all the prospective football players that we have out here. I'm Coach Grant. I'm the head football coach here at the Coast Guard Academy. And basically, guys, we've gone through the academics and some of the military side of things. And so we want to talk to you a little bit about football. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some of the slides I have. And these are the things that I actually share with our team when they come in the first day of camp, or the night before, actually. We'll sit down, we'll have a meeting, and I'll basically give them our expectations of coaches as cadet athletes. Let me see, get it working here. All right. This first slide, it says, are your habits of today on par with your dreams for the future? And basically, guys, I talk to them constantly about, are you doing the right thing? Are you working the right way? Sometimes around here, when you get to play 10 games this part of the year, you got to make sure that they're taking care of the academics as far as they need to be, and also they're getting after it in the weight room. We'll start spring ball here on Sunday, but we just want to keep them reminded of who they are, how they should be working. All right, here's my vision statement that I put out and I share with them every year. I want to surround myself with like-minded players and coaches that have the want, the will, and the determination to drive this program to its highest level. And we're looking for good kids, all right, great guys who love the game, who also have a heart to serve this great nation that we're in. And we have a great group of kids around us that allow us to do that. We come in here and we're going to make them feel like they want to be part of this program. And the first thing we'll talk about is this BEAR statement. And BEAR stands for, the B in the BEAR stands for brotherhood. And I'm sure a lot of you guys come from a great program, and it's stuff that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. But at this level, it's even more. It's about the culture. It's about how we treat each other on and off the field. It's a legacy that we build as a group, as individuals, about sharing a common view and goals and working to that end. And one thing you'll find out when you come here is far beyond the field. When these guys graduate, you'll know not only the people, and you get to know the football players very intimately, but in your class, you'll know every single person in your class, not only every single person, but where they're from. From a football standpoint, we had an alumni come in today and we're asking, where's this kid? Where's this kid? Where's this kid? And he graduated in like 2012, and he knew exactly where every single one of those football players were and what they were doing. So it's something that's built into you that's going to last you a lifetime. The effort that you put in, all right? Nothing great is accomplished without great effort, all right? Your whole survival here could be summed up in the way that you consistently work, all right? And you heard Lieutenant Brown talk about his struggles off the field a little bit with the academics, all right? If you want to be good at something, you're going to have to put time in, and that's on and off the field, all right? The A is for accountability and trust. The two things are the basis of all relationships, all right? We need to be able to trust one another and hold each other accountable for all of our actions. That's on and off the field. That's in the dorm. All right. That's when we stop somewhere to eat, and I'll just let you guys go. One of the best things I hear is when we do stuff like that is I get a manager or a supervisor will come over to me and tell me how outstanding our young men are. And that to me makes me proud as it does on a Saturday afternoon when they're busting their hump to win a football game. All right. You need to understand how your actions affect with each other within the brotherhood, because for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. So we're relying upon each other, so we need to be accountable to each other. Respect, all right, respect the service and the sacrifice that those who've gone in front of you have given. All right, serving each other, sacrifice is what we want. Being respectful of everyone along the way. All right, so that's win or lose. All right, we're going to do things the right way, and I think coming into the program, guys have to understand that. All right, success for us, what does it look like? In the classroom and on the field. All right, and we talk about this all the time. Being able to manage your time here is probably the biggest key to how successful you're going to be. All right, because for you to be a great football player, it means you're going to have to find time for film and all the other stuff, the lifting and stuff that we require our guys. So it's going to require that you do a great job of managing your time, get your academics done first, all right, before you ever even come down here to the field, all right? But for success, it starts in the classroom and then it's on the field. Having a winning record, obviously being 500 better consistently over the years, winning rivalry games. And one of the neat things about coming to a place like this is that you guys are coming to a place that has built-in rivalries already. And, you know, not only you play Merchant Marine Academy, but we also play Norwich University up in Vermont. And that's been we actually were bigger rivals with them before Merchant Marine. So those games are what they call trophy games, and to be able to play in those and the meaning that they have for our guys is pretty special. All right. Eventually we want to get to a point where we win the conference and NEWMAC champions, and we get into the NCAA playoffs. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this over to Coach Fleischman, and we'll come back to this at the end.
Okay, hope everybody can hear me out there. So I'm just going to give you a real brief overview of the Coast Guard defense, kind of what we're looking for playing wise, and a little bit, show you a few clips of films and things like that. Once again, my name is Dana Fleischman. I'm the defensive coordinator here at the Coast Guard Academy. I'm in my 24th year at the Academy. So I got here in the fall of 2000 and have not left. Coach Grant arrived 1 year prior to me, so he's in his 25th year. Coach Grant and myself are also members of the professional teaching faculty, so we teach phys ed classes. And LT Brown did a great job talking about SWAB Summer, some of your summer experiences. You will see us quite a bit during SWAB Summer. We're running the strength program, we're running the survival at sea program, also doing the obstacle course and things like that. So we are around you guys quite a bit on and off the field. So again, just a couple slides I'm going to roll through here. A little bit of the Coast Guard defense. And one thing we had at Service Academy, always a little bit of a struggle with the size. And, to be a successful cadet in an academy, we're not going to have the 350-pounder. You're not going to make it here as a cadet. So we have to be multiple on defense. We have to be adaptable. And the last word you see there is we have to be interchangeable. We got to be able to plug in parts to various spots on defense. Coaching at the academy, coaching in the NEWMAC, again, 24 years, kind of the lay of the land. In a given season, we'll see 5 to 6 teams that I run what we'll call a spread offense. So that's going to dictate a certain style of defense. Nickel dime type of package, things like that. So we're going to see 5 to 6 teams that really run your traditional spread, quarterbacks and shotgun, RPOs, the whole shebang, so to speak. We'll also see a couple teams that are a little bit of a throwback, and they might go under center, they might go 2 backs, and they're going to try to run the ball down our throat. And a lot of times the opposition sees the Coast Guard Academy, sees an undersized defense, and they think they can do that. So we're going to see 2 or 3 games each year. Kind of like that. And maybe a team will be some spread, some pro. And then coaching here, as long as I have, triple option. So we're going to see it twice a year. I have friends in the profession, been coached for 30 years. They've never played a triple option team. We see it twice a year. There was a point we saw it 3 times a year. So that in itself invites a different type of defensive philosophy as well. So I think my next clip is just some game film from this year. So it's the Anna Maria game. Okay. And just kind of talking about our overall team speed, what we're looking at. So, on the backside there, position-wise, a lot of guys come and say, how big do I need to be to play this position? So that defensive end up there, number 25, making this sack, Tyler Jones, is a rising senior from Virginia, and he was a linebacker in high school. And now here he is in college with his hand on the ground playing a DN. Right out here defensively, we really have what we call like our base 4-2-5 package. So 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and basically 5 defensive back types. But again, speed is really one of the strengths of our game because we're not going to be the biggest, strongest team out there. Just not possible at a Service Academy. You can see how TJ does a great job running down this play. And we'll watch from the end zone angle. So again, it's the Anna Maria. And again, make a note, guys, you look at the size of the opposition. Sometimes we're watching film. We don't know if our guys are out there. They're basically being covered down. But our guys can run, and they're tough, and they're strong, and they're going to make plays. And there's TJ coming off the edge, running down the quarterback. So again, athleticism, we're always looking for that type of player. So I mentioned the different strains of offense we see. So here's Springfield College, a triple option type of team. Again, they're trying to get the ball on the perimeter, which plays into our hand rather than smash mouthing us. But again, we're wanting guys that can run and are physical at the point of contact. So this left cornerback here, Number 21, Ryan Vigo, is a senior. He's graduating. He's a cyber systems major, right? Really epitomized what we're all about defensively. He played corner in games. He played strong safety. He played nickel. So we're always looking for guys like that in our defense. And of course, being physical at the point of contact. Then just had to get this clip in here as well. We didn't play the best on defense in this game. I will take full ownership. This is a Merchant Marine game. You can see we have the very unique uniforms honoring the Coast Guard Medal of Honor winner. And again, here's Kings Point lining up in a kind of a long line. Again, we want guys that can run and be physical at the point of attack. Again, from the end zone. So some pretty sweet uniforms. I know LT Brown really harped on that. This is a custom uniform made just for the Academy for this game, kind of mimicking the tropical blue long uniform that Coast Guard officers, cadets wear. All right. So we talk about being successful on defense. These are our areas. We're not going to talk about how many yards we yield. We're not going to talk about points per game, anything like that. Third down defense. So again, nothing that you haven't heard already, probably from your defensive coaches in high school. We need to be strong on third down. We got to force turnovers. We will a lot of ways kind of epitomize a bend but don't break defense. Probably going to get some big plays on us. Be able to run down and throw a little bit. So we're going to count on forcing some turnovers. And really those two categories right there. You can have all the goals you want on a board and check boxes, but if you're hitting the goals in those two categories, you're going to win some games. All right, you're going to win some games. And then obviously eliminating big plays. So we call a 20-yard pass or a 15-yard run. That's a big play. And really very much the same correlation as winning the turnover battle. Just kind of looking at last year, on third down defense, again, you're coaching it or allowing it to happen. I will take the hit on that. We got to get better. So moving into the future here, this spring ball, fall 24, and you guys in the room right now who are going to be playing for us in 2025, we got to do better on third down. So I think a lot of that's going to come down to being more, pressuring on first and second down, getting teams off schedule. Now, forcing turnovers last year, we were very successful. So those are ranks from last year, second in the conference in interceptions, and then ended up being 35th. And, there's a 240 NCAA Division III teams. We were 35th in the nation in interceptions. And then fumbles recovered, we were, again, second in the conference and 60th in the nation in terms of that. So those are pretty good marks, very respectable for our program on the defensive side of the ball. So just a little snapshot of interceptions. So this is again, back to the Anna Maria game, just the guys being active. Here's a spread offense that we commonly face. So kind of a 3-by-1 set. Guys being aggressive on the ball. So you'd have those ball hawks back there in the secondary. Kind of wish he'd run the other way. Had some blockers on the left-hand side here, but again, taking away the ball is key here. And again, you can see kind of the size disadvantage you'll face on defense. We take that as a badge of honor that we can compete with these teams. Now, I think one thing too, a little diversity of our team. So I look at the shade there. He's a New York kid. Our middle linebacker is a Virginia kid. The left end's Virginia. The kid who breaks up the passes from Western New York. The kid who intercepts it from Texas. So I know we have guys. And this guy coming to the screen here. The corner is from North Carolina. That free safety number 7 from Pennsylvania. So I know we got guys from all over the country. We're excited to have you. And we are one of the most diverse teams probably in all of college football. Right. Foundations of our defense, again, don't want to, kind of bore you with some of these details, but alignment assignment are key, and then playing with great technique. That's what we're always looking to do on the Coast Guard defensive side of the ball. We do base out of a 4-2-5 package, so 4 down linemen, but a lot of you high school linebackers may see yourself as a DN for us. Playing kind of a stand-up end. Interior linemen are generally guys who played inside in high school. 2 backers in general, and then 5 DBs, but that is game plan dependent. We will go into games with, 3 D linemen or 4 D linemen and 3 linebackers. We do have to adjust our opponent. That's just modern college football in a nutshell. All right, so just some base alignments, how we would, line up some base formation. So here's a traditional spread set. This is that bear position, kind of a hybrid linebacker DB. In this case, he's, basically playing down off of the slot receiver. You got a 6-man box here. And then we'll ask a will linebacker type in an EVA coverage. He may have to bump out of the box. So versatility for you guys in high school is what we're looking for. Guys that can play in the box, out of the box as linebackers, DBs that can play off the ball, play down on the ball as well. Those are the type of players that we are drawn to. All right, the more tools you bring to the table, the better it is for us. Snapshot here where, we're seeing a 2 tight end offense. So in this case, we're not going to play nickel to that. We're going to have an extra linebacker in the game and line up with, 5-man front at times. So here's a Sam Mike Will standard defense, probably a lot of you guys are used to match up. Again, we're going to match on defense. You got to match up. You got to match up to what offense is giving you. Same thing here, another slide. Again, the traditional pro formation that we do see from time to time. And again, here's more of a 4-3 package. And this is our WPI game from last fall, one of our big wins. So here we are playing against basically a 7-man service on offense. So we only have 4 DBs. We got 3 backers in the game. Nice play by his defense. This is an outside linebacker, stand-up linebacker, running a little game, inside twist, getting a sack. And again, WPI is a pretty strong team year in and year out. You can see the size of spirit we deal with, but our guys make plays. Some games we run, some twists and stunts and things like that. So a couple of our blitz packages. Again, we'll bore you with some of those details. And here it is in a game later in the year. This is our nickels game. Run a little cross blitz inside. Again, as a coaching staff, we need to do more of this in the future to kind of get those teams off schedule. Show from the end zone. There it is. Yep. So the kid coming free in this blitz right here is Patrick McCaskey. He's one of our seniors upcoming. He was voted as a team captain by his teammates. So he's a senior captain for us next fall, as well as Joey Armitrout, our record-setting quarterback. So D lineman, we've give you guys a little fun to get to drop out sometimes and try and cover, cloud up a throwing lane. All right, I am going to turn it over to Coach Wells to talk about our record-setting offense.
Okay, thanks, Coach Fleischman. Appreciate that. Let me just find share my screen here. Is that being shared? What's going on? There we go. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Well, my name is JB Wells. I'm the offensive coordinator here at the Coast Guard Academy. The other coaches many of the other coaches on staff have been here for over 20 years. I've been going into year 3. But it's my 33rd year coaching college football. And, this is the best job I've ever had. Great place, great kids. And we've been able to do some good things on offense. And so I'll take you through this, just like Coach Fleischman did, to talk a little bit about what we do offensively. This isn't everything, but it gives you the framework and the philosophy of what we do. We did have a good offense this year. We were the number 1 offense in our conference, and we were the number 22 offense in the country out of all 240 Division III teams. So we run a lot of plays. We scored a lot of points, but that comes down to us having some really good players. In the last 2 years, we've had the offensive rookie of the year in our conference, and our quarterback is a 3-year starter, going to be a 4-year starter. Has the ability to make a lot of plays for us. So you put those things together, you can be pretty good on offense. Philosophically, this is kind of what we're about. We're a very simple offense, and that doesn't mean that it's easy, but we play very fast. We play with real wide splits. If you guys think about what maybe you've seen at Tennessee in the last couple of years with the really wide splits, we like to do that. We have an inside run game. We call it our Bank Street run game. Bank Street is the main road into London, and we just want to run right down Bank Street if we can, like keeping the ball between the tackles. We have a vertical pass game where we're going to stress the defense down the field, put our receivers in positions to make some plays. And then we like to think that we have a creative and fun offense to play in, where we'll do some things that are fun, trick plays and those sorts of things that we are committed to running. We don't just practice them. So in terms of being simple, I think just because something is simple doesn't mean that it is easy. I think that, because we're simple, it allows us to be pretty sophisticated in what we do. We just don't do a lot of things. We do a few things really well. We're very, very disciplined in our pursuit of less. We want to do less with more with less. I'm sorry. We want to focus and be great at what we call our green deck calls. Green deck in the Coast Guard is where everything's fired up and ready to go. And so our green deck calls allow us to play fast and be very physical with our base calls. And then 70 or 75% of our offense will come from that green deck, which is about 5 or 6 plays. So we're able to do a lot with a little, and get some good production out of it. We want to be fast. So one of our hallmarks is that we're a very, very fast tempo team. We play at what we refer to as 90 plays per hour. We want to play extremely fast. We want to run a lot of plays, and if we can average about 90 plays, we will be able to control the ball game. We believe in get the first down and then snap the ball every 12 to 15 seconds through the course of the game. So for us, this is an identity thing. Everything that we do is fast. It's not just a tool. So we're not one of those teams that has multiple tempos. We run with one tempo. We try to run as fast as we can, as much as we can. This creates a sense of urgency with our players. Our guys don't panic. We just can play really fast, and we allows us to dictate the flow of the game, allows us to wear out the defense and get them to be unsound. They'll have a hard time getting lined up with our pace, and we'll steal yards and create explosive plays because of that. And we really believe the more plays we run, the more opportunities we have to score. So we're going to try to get to that 90 plays per hour, plays per game if we can. From a wide split standpoint, this is kind of one of our things that makes our opponent defend the entire field. So we want them to defend every blade of grass out there. And by aligning our wide receivers extremely wide, you'll see it on the film, this forces the defense to adapt to us. It gives us very defined pictures, both in the run and the pass game. It defines the box and the box defenders, and it defines the coverage players. And it makes it very difficult for those conflict players, those outside linebackers, to allow them to do what they want to do. They want to be involved in the run, but they're so wide, they better get involved in the pass. And that creates one-on-one matchups for us. And that's really what we're looking for is how can we get our guys matched up one-on-one and let them go make a play. Our Bank Street run game, when we talk about Bank Street, it's A-gap to A-gap. So we'll primarily be a gap scheme run team. We run a lot of power, counter. We run a duo play for the guys that understand that, which is kind of our version of inside zone. But when we run that between the gap and the A-gaps, it limits negative plays. We're able to get downhill behind a fullback and hit you hard up the middle, and that's gonna limit negative plays. So you're not going to get into a situation where we're knocked backwards and finding ourselves in long yardage situations. We always feel like we can make yards between the tackles. That complements our spacing. So as defenses and safeties have to get wider, if we split them in the middle, it's gone. And you'll see that on the film. And it creates a physical, aggressive mindset. You know, Coach Fleischman hit on this, that we're never going to be the biggest guys out there. But our guys have a physical, aggressive mindset that we can come off the ball and we can hit you in the mouth, and that we're going to be able to run the football, which is a key to winning football games no matter where you are. So this is a couple examples here of that Bank Street run game idea. And I just have them from the wide shot here rather than the end zone shot. But you'll see this is just us running a counter play where we're pulling our center to kick out. We'll put on our fullback, our tight end to be the wrap guy. And we just hand the ball off here to a freshman running back from New York, James Wheeler, and Wheeler's off to the races. And so this is really kind of like what we're all about. And you can see what I was saying with us playing extremely wide, where our field receivers all the way outside the numbers, our two receivers in here to the boundary are outside the numbers. That forces these safeties to get wide, forces this outside linebacker to define what he's going to do. And when they have to make a tackle, they have to do some from the side and not straight up. And we feel that we can split those types of tackles and gain extra yards. Here's second or third game of the year against Nichols College. Same idea. We're going to come downhill. Now this is us just running a gap scheme power play. We're going to get a kick out by our fullback here. We're going to get an extra blocker in there because this is a quarterback power with an extra blocker from the tailback, and this is our quarterback. Again, we're splitting the defense. If we stay in the A-gaps and we can run right at you, we're going to be pretty good. And so here's our quarterback splitting the defense for a big touchdown at the end of the game to kind of seal the win for us. All right, this next run was in game 2. This is Harrison Hensley at running back. He was the new MAC Rookie of the Year this year, a freshman running back from Tampa, Florida. And again, we're just running our power play here. And we're getting the kick out, and then Harrison's going to stay right in the A-gaps. And if somebody misses a tackle, this safety folds in and he misses the tackle, we are off to the races because the other guys are out here defending our receivers. They're hustling to get wide. They're both outside the hashes. We can get a light box and split them, and we're gone. So couple of pretty good runs there, and we had quite a few explosive plays this year, and a lot of them were just from our run game. And again, here's another final example of this kind of our inside zone play. Again, to Harrison here, where we're going to create a couple double teams inside, get our fullback to kick out the edge, and then get Harrison up there. And again, you see the inability of the defense to make a tackle straight up on us. We can just run through them and get to the end zone here. So vertical pass game. So in the same idea, it complements that run game. So our splits help our run game. Our run game helps our pass game. We want to be as aggressive in the pass game as we are in the run game. We want to throw the ball down the field. I mean, that's where the plays are to be made. You have to make explosive plays in college football, in offensive football in general. You need at least one explosive play in your drive. And so this allows us to make explosive plays. So, and I'll show you this from a couple different standpoints. Here we are, and this is just some quick pass game. This would be like your 3-step drop, fast kind of things, but it has man answers. So you can see this middle receiver here, Brooke Desta from San Diego, California. He was the NEWMAC Rookie of the Year a year ago. So in this situation, they played us in a man coverage. And so the man answer on this was to go to Brooke, and Brooke's just going to run by it. And so here's a 80-something yard touchdown pass on a 3-step drop where the offensive line can be aggressive and no one's going to touch the quarterback. So that's out of the 3-step game. Then you can see here, this is off of play action. So we do have some RPO elements of our offense. This is one of them. And all we're doing here is we're reading this player that's down here, this extra hitter, the guy you can't block. Well, we're going to run a little glance route here to Jimmy Pats from Severance Park, Maryland. And he's going to just run by here, and he runs a little glance route. And Joe's just reading that overhang player. And if that overhang player does not defend, we get a single high safety. People are so focused on our run game that opens up that RPO game. Again, throwing the ball down the field. Okay, so your play action RPO game. And then if you just get into your drop back pass game, well, this is just a simple route that we built in that was a one-on-one shot. We knew that if we sent this guy in motion, that they would leave this corner on an island against Desta, who's our top receiver. Set a bunch of records this year, was all New England. But you can see now this is just out of our drop back pass game, where it's not necessarily 3-step drop. It's a 7-man protection. And we're just going to let Brooke go. And Joe takes a little quick drop there. Is able to put the ball up there and put a 50-50 ball. Brooke comes down with those more often than not. So you can see how now we got our drop back pass game involved. And then, we look to do some things out of empty. And this allowed us to kind of, find some weaknesses in the defense. Again, defenses tend to play us really wide. And we knew that if we put our all-conference, Rookie of the Year running back here in the slot, that we could run him by a linebacker that, he wants to hit people. He wears a neck roll. He's not a great pass defender. Well, we want to find the best one-on-one matchup and still be able to go downfield, even if it's on the inside part of the field. So this is a little bit out of our play action pass, but, we built it out of empty, and we just put him down the field, matched him up against the right guy, and you get an easy score here out of those guys. So we're not afraid to throw it to the backs. We're not afraid to throw it to tight ends and receivers. We'll spread the ball around quite a bit, but we're going to throw it down the field vertically. All right. And then the last thing of our offense is that we believe it's a creative offense. It allows us to be creative because of our simplicity to put in some neat little wrinkles. Players love that. I love that. Our staff enjoys coming up with these things each week. And so we'll come into these things. And typically these special plays, which might be out of a strange formation or a different play or different personnel grouping, we'll carry 4 to 5 of these each week. We will practice them, and we will call them on Saturday. So one of my goals as an offensive coordinator is if you're going to practice these plays, you have to run them. And I've been on staffs, and I was a player, and man, there was that play that you guys all love, and coach practices it and doesn't call it. We will call it. I want to empty the bag on these things, and I'll come up with some new ones for the next week. But this is some of our creative plays. So this one right here is just a simple reverse. And again, not anything earth-shattering, but it's a way for us to get our slot receiver involved in the in the run game, just running a simple reverse to Amr Badani from Northern Virginia for a touchdown. And I think we ran that play 3 times in the year. We probably scored, and I think we scored 3 touchdowns on it. So simple reverse. Here's another play where we run double passes out of a lot of different things. So this is just an example of double pass where we're faking that swing screen that we had a lot of success with during the year. So this is a constraint play for that. So instead of, throwing the ball out there to Harrison and letting him run the ball and have everybody block, now we're going to throw the ball out there to Harrison, and Desta is lined up as the number 3 receiver, and he runs a little kind of stop and go, a little block and go. And so now you have the NEWMAC Rookie of the Year throwing to the NEWMAC Rookie of the Year. I think that's pretty good. When you put your ball in your best player's hands, usually good things happen. So that was kind of a fun play. I think that was the first offensive play of that game. Here's against Kings Point in those nice uniforms that Coach Fleischman mentioned. And this was a little wrinkle that we put in. Our running back was banged up. Our backup quarterback is a good runner. He's about a 6'3", 210-pound kid from Georgia. And so we put Dennis at the quarterback spot. We put our starting quarterback at the halfback spot. And we ran a little 2-quarterback package. And so this was just a way for us to kind of wrinkle the defense, make them look at things differently, and make them account for a lot of different things. They had never seen this before. And so all we do here is we hand it off to Joe, we block for sprint pass, and we run a little smash route, and we score a touchdown there to Brooke against Kings Point. So, these are things that aren't earth-shattering, but they're creative ways to get your players involved. If you can do something, we're going to get you involved. And then here, of course, this is for all the offensive linemen in the room. This is our senior guard, number 52. This play was called Blue 52, and it's a short yardage play where he just shuffles over, and we run a little fullback ISO to the senior guard, get him in the end zone for a touchdown against Kings Point. Kind of a neat way to end the year. And, that's something as an old offensive lineman myself, I wish they did for me. I try to do it for somebody coming up with a creative play to do it that way. So that's kind of what we do on offense. Certainly there's more to it, but that gives you the overall view of things. And, certainly if you're an offensive player, our offense is a lot of fun to play in. You look at some of the other academies, and they're largely based run the ball all the time, option type football teams. At least that's been what they've been traditionally. We are not. So if you want to throw the ball, but still go in a run offense, we're 51% run, 49% pass. We led the conference in just about every offensive category. And, we're looking to take the next step and really kind of get up even further in the national rankings of being one of the top offenses in the entire country. So if you come to Coast Guard, you'll have an opportunity to do that on offense. So thanks for your time, guys. I'm going to turn it back over to Coach Grant so he can wrap things up for us tonight.
Zoom right there.
I think I locked out.
Right. Yeah, you're still talking. Stop here.
Yep.
You guys hear me?
Gotcha, Coach.
All righty. Just go through this real quick. What are we looking for? First of all, outstanding students. It's a big thing that in your senior year that you're taking these 3 classes, chemistry, physics, and calculus. I know a lot of kids get stuck, hey, I'm taking enough math, I'm going to take statistics, and it ends up, it could be the reason why you get in direct or you go to prep school. So as you're looking at your senior classes, those are 3 things you want to be on your transcript. Outstanding players. You got to love the game, especially here where there's so much on your plate. You got to love the game, and you got to feel like you can't go on without it. All right. Outstanding teammates. All right. Because the kids we have here are great for one another. They look out for one another. And those are the type of guys that we want to be around and we want to coach. The next steps, if you have not yet filled out the questionnaire, you can go to coastguardathletics.com and go on there and fill it out. Your AIM application, I believe the application is open right now, and it is the deadline is April 1st. If you would like to come and visit this place, whether it's on your own with your family or sign up for Bears Day or something like that, we totally are totally up for that. If you want to come and see us, our prospect day is going to be on July the 6th. That we'll try to get the application for that up and going here in the next week or so. And Lieutenant Brown talked about the application, and certainly I think that if you look at this place, you should look at early application and getting that done. Matter of fact, you get it done almost before football season starts, but you have to do a good job on that and give yourself some time to do it. And certainly, if you would like to come for a game day visit, let us know, and we'll do what we can to get you here so you can see what the environment is like on one of our home games. I would like to say thank you for being with us tonight. I hope this is kind of piqued your curiosity about the academy and what we're about as a football program. And certainly, if you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter or an email, and hopefully we'll see a bunch of you guys. We'll see a bunch of you guys at the at AIM and at the prospect day. All right, best of luck to you in spring ball, and as always, go Bears.